Hi, welcome to Bar Cart Bookshelf, a video series about books and the drinks they inspire. My name is Elias, and today we're talking about Mirage City by Lev A.C. Rosen. Mirage City is the fourth book in the Evander Mills series of historical mysteries. We've talked about all three of the previous books here on Bar Cart Bookshelf. It's one of my favorite series, publishing right now. A book so nice, I pre-ordered it twice because it's one that I love to give as a gift. And it is a book that came out last year. In grand Bar Cart Bookshelf tradition, I love to spend January reading and talking about books from the previous year that I didn't have the chance to cover in that year, starting our year as we look back and look forward, because there's no expiration date on great books. As I've said, Mirage City is the fourth book in the Evander Mills series of historical mysteries. If you have read the previous volumes, I think you're really going to love this. If you have not, one, you should, and two, they're mysteries. So yes, they build on each other and they are in continuity with one another, but a mystery is a standalone story, and so there's really no bad place to start. If you want, blackmail, read Rough Pages. If you want murder, read Book 1, Lavender House. And if you want missing persons and a road trip, check out Mirage City. So in Book 4, Mirage City, Andy Mills, the gay PI in 1950s San Francisco, goes on a road trip. He goes back home to sunny Los Angeles, a little SoCal time in the heat of summer, to investigate some missing members of the Mattachine Society, a organization involved in the mid-century struggle for queer rights. And as with all of these mysteries, it's a very well-researched and thoughtful sort of exploration of a different time in American queer life, and one that is not quite to the turning point of the maybe 60s and 70s as things begin to heat up a bit more. Though certainly a moment in transition, and a place where queer life is livable but difficult. And so we see here in Mirage City, as Andy is drawn into this mystery of three missing members of the San Francisco chapter of the Mattachine Society, being drawn into the sort of larger structural issues of sending queer publications through the mail, which we discussed in much greater detail in Rough Pages, and gay motor clubs. We've got a really great motorcycle group who we'll be discussing more as we get our drink, and conversion therapy as well, and the risks of the intersection of medicine and self-determination, and the unfortunately ongoing, in some communities, attempt to medicalize the gay away. It's a gripping mystery. It's, as I've said, one of my favorite series, and one that just sort of pulls you along while giving you a chance to think deeply about continuity and change, to think about historical context and the present moment, and the interpersonal conflict as well. Los Angeles is Andy's hometown city, and he is revisiting his mother, who he hasn't seen in 7 years, in the course of this novel. And so we get to have some wonderful extra depth to Andy, even as we sort of separate him from some of the core cast members who we've had in the previous 3 volumes. Just really fun, exciting stuff. As I've said before, I would read a dozen of these books. I think they are really fantastic. It's always one of my treats to read and to talk about here on Bar Cart Bookshelf. So without any further ado, why don't we turn to our drink this week. Our drink this week is the Bacchanal. There's a great joke about that in the book, but I would not cloak myself in stolen valor, so you'll just have to read the book and check that out. The Bacchanal is the name of this gay motorcycle club. They wear a patch, which is like a sort of martini glass with a purple liquid in it, a triangle. And they're like rough livers. They are sort of wild and free and a little bit intimidating, and have a really fun dynamic with Andy in this way that, we can explore some of the motor culture of the 50s as well, which has sort of lost some of its edge in our present time, but still has a strong element of intimidation to it in the cultural consciousness there, and in a way that can be sort of playful and subversive in these explorations of masculinity. But we've got to make a drink, so we will start with 1.5 ounces of Scotch whiskey. I'm using a Speyside blended whiskey today. As always, when you're making cocktails, you want to use something that's a little cheaper, a little more on your mid-range. You don't want to use that $200 bottle of Scotch or brandy in making a cocktail, because the idea of a cocktail is that the sum is greater than the whole of its parts. It should elevate, and that's not going to happen when you are using something that's really sort of designed to be enjoyed on its own. Also, we're not, in penthouses and sprawling villas. We're here in garages and rough bars and on the open road and in hotels. We're a private detective, so we want something that's got a little bit of that rough edge to it. We'll get that 1.5 ounces into our mixing glass, into our shaker rather, and to that we will add 3/4 ounce of lemon juice. We're drinking a lot of lemonade over the course of the novel because it's very hot. It's very hot in San Francisco. It's very hot in Los Angeles, unseasonably so. And so it's nice to cool down with a nice frosty, freezy glass of lemonade. And it's going to bring some brightness, some of that lightning zip to our Bacchanal. We'll add 1/2 ounce of red wine syrup. A bit of brightness for that bit of color. This is made with equal parts red wine and sugar. If you have a bottle of red wine and it's starting to turn, you've had a glass or two and then forgotten about it on the counter, you can make a really great syrup with that's got a lot of that like rich sort of acidity of the red wine, that depth of flavor, but is a little more shelf stable in the fridge and adds a real complicating note to cocktails. Red wine syrup, one of my favorite little things to try and play with. We'll get 1/4 ounce of dry vermouth. Something about the Pacific Coast Highway just makes me think about dry vermouth. It's like a little crisp, a little briny, a little refreshing, a little herbal. Lovely. And then finally, we'll add a bar spoon of cream of coconut. This is Andy's favorite birthday cake. And it's not a series, but mine's a little nut in it. So he has his coconut cake for his birthday. And we've got our little bit of coconut here in our Bacchanal. We've got all of our ingredients in our shaker now. Add our ice, lovely, and shake it up, wake it up. Lovely. Give that a stout tap. And strain into a stemmed glass. there you have it. This is the Bacchanal, inspired by Mirage City by Lev A.C. Rosen. Mirage City is available now. I've got a link to snag it in the description down below, as well as a link to purchase my book, Cocktails and Consoles, 75 Cocktails and Mocktails inspired by the wonderful world of video games. If you're looking for more ideas for how to use red wine syrup, we've got several recipes in there. Got links to various forms of social media, including Blue Sky and Instagram, where there is always a written version of today's recipe. Try the drink, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Hit that like button, it makes me so happy when you do. Subscribe if you haven't already so you never miss an episode. And until next time, cheers.